what are you working on right now? Like, what are the things that are like filling your calendar that like reflect this type of work? And maybe I'll even lean it my own bias and the bias of, I guess, the theme of the podcast is when it comes to Web3, I'm really curious, how is that playing into what you're building as well?
Mm-hmm. I referred to this fact that I think that the only thing that comes out of Web3, and this will be controversial, maybe intentionally, so I can't quite tell. The only thing that comes out of Web3 is the ability to make non-counterfeitable tokens. And so everything else is interesting, like ZK proofs, etc. But the fact that you can make these ordered, we can have an agreed order of events is essentially all that goes into blockchains plus consensus. That is like this new primitive that exists in the world, and that there are things to build out of it. And so the two, but then there's a lot of people that are out there that are kind of what I would say is they have the solution and they're looking for a problem. And meanwhile, for me, like the problem is really clear. We need to fund public goods and we need to achieve collective intelligence. And that's it, right? And all of the problems that like people would call the meta crisis, so AI risk, AI alignment risk, and then bio risk and climate risk, et cetera, that these are, and also like corruption and plutocracy and these other like social risks that we have, that these all fundamentally come down to those two problems: the ability to fund public goods and our like kind of the like IQ of our collective intelligence. And so those are the two problems that we need to solve. And I think that blockchain and Web3 technologies are a necessary but an insufficient part of that story. And so this is where I'm fond of. So Balaji, for example, is fond of saying that he thinks that we're going to look back in history and we're going to see these blockchains, and the fact that that Bitcoin managed, we know that when a Bitcoin was sent, that's going to be somehow really an important moment in history because it's the first verifiable data. And to that I say bullshit, because we have this verifiable data. We have these observables that we know exist. We can go to Egypt and we can look at the pyramids and we know that those pyramids are there, but that does nothing to help us figure out why they're there, right? What's the story of their creation? So meaning making is this thing that you must do on top of data. You have to somehow take in data, and then you have to be able to construct coherent and internally consistent narratives on top of it. And so lots of my work is around exactly that. How do we do the meaning making? How do we do the sense making? How do we do the yellow teaming? How do we do the collective intelligence work that needs to exist off of this? Because blockchain allows you to know that the technology or that the data hasn't been manipulated. That's what the technology is doing for us. But it's as though you're saying that hollow bones are sufficient for birds to fly. And of course, we know that they also need wings. So this is my preferred analogy for talking about what we need to do. And we need to, and that's where all of my effort is going, is into the tools for collective intelligence that we